Alrighty, so let's go ahead and add an additional feature here to this project. So I want to add support for arrays. So placing the shapes in an array. So I'll simply copy this driver.ts and then I'll just paste it and I'll give it a new name. And the new name that I'll give, I'll call it ArrayDriver.ts. Alrighty, so make sure you're in ArrayDriver.ts. So it's simply a copy of our previous one. We're just having a separate file here for doing the array work. Alright, so what I'll do here is in this section of code, I'll actually remove all of the console.log statements. So I'll remove console.log for my shape, my circle, and my rectangle. And so right now we should simply have the variable declarations for my shape, my circle, and my rectangle. And now what I'll do is I'll declare an array of shapes that'll be initially empty. So I set this up by saying let the shapes colon shape square brackets equals square brackets. So basically it's an empty array that we're starting with. And then we'll add some shapes to the array. So I'll add my shape. And then I'll just do a little copy paste here. And then I'll update it with my circle and my rectangle. And now notice here that this array can only hold shapes. So if I try to add a string to this array, like push will this work, well then the compiler will say, hey, this is not of the right type. And then if I also try to say, all right, well, what happens if I say the shapes.push a number? A similar thing, the compiler will say, hey, just type mismatch. So we need to remove that code so we can only place shapes in this array, which makes sense, right? So now I'll just set up a for loop, and so I'll loop over the shapes, and then I'll do a console.log on tempShape.getInfo. So I'll just open up a terminal window, move into O5 inheritance. And now I'll run the program, and so I'll say node ArrayDriver.js. So note here a different program, ArrayDriver.js, and we'll see our output. So we're going to get the same output, but in the background, we're making use of an array. So our array is populated with our three shapes, my shape, my circle, my rectangle, and then we simply loop over that array and we call getInfo on each one of those shapes. So I simply wanted to show you another way of using inheritance here and how we can actually place items into an array and then loop over it and access the elements in that array using our inheritance tree. Alrighty, so good job.